instruction, golf news, equipment, travel, interviews, course profiles, and more. Your weekly fix of all things golf is about to begin. It's the Flagstick Podcast with your hosts, Jeff Potter and Scott McLeod. Okay, everybody, welcome. Welcome to another episode of the Flagstick Podcast, sponsored by Golf PEI. Golf Prince Edward Island is Canada's premier golf destination, boasting the most number of golf courses per capita in the country with over 400, count them, 400 fairways, closer than you can possibly imagine, top-tier accommodations, and exquisite culinary experiences. It is the easiest golf vacation you will ever book. So book a golf vacation or tee times at golfpei.ca. The social media, follow us across all of it. Instagram, X. See, I'm not even going to say the Twitter thing anymore, but I just did. But I'm not going to say anything. It's like everybody knows it's dumb X. And Facebook and TikTok and strings and threads and buttons and whatever. We're not on Snapchat. Anyway, subscribe to us on Spotify, Audible, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. We really do encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's the big one, one of the big ones. Like us, click the notification bell, and make sure you never miss a single episode.
I think we actually have a Snapchat account. I just don't think I've ever done it.
I asked one of my kids, my youngest, Brandon, obviously, I said, yeah, should I get a Snapchat account? He said, that's cringe. So I guess that means that's like 53-year-old men should not have Snapchat accounts. I don't know.
It's really interesting. I mean, every platform is different and the audience is different on each. And, we have to cater our content to that as well. So,
well, that's the thing is that we do have, the younger generation, our followers, viewers, audience in general. So you kind of have to go where they are and I guess try to
plug my other microphone in.
Okay, well, you do whatever you got to do there. We did say that we were looking forward to doing the podcast to take our mind off of the white stuff that fell yesterday or last night. And I said, yeah. And I said, well, we'll take our mind off it at least until I talk about it.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to talk about it. I am not happy right now.
Here we are 2 weeks away from the Ottawa-Gatineau Golf Expo. And for people that don't know, that's where we are located in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. And we always know we're always going to get some this time of year. I think we've got lucky in the last little bit. Mm-hmm. Hopefully we don't see a lot more. And hopefully as we slide our way towards that golf show that we don't see a lot come that weekend and people are excited to, stop by and say hello.
Well, that's always the big thing, right? I mean, some years I remember there's been years where it's been like minus 40. Mm-hmm. Hasn't been a lot of snow, but it's been super cold. And there's other years where we get a snowstorm the night before. It's just, I don't know. You'd think by March the 1st that you'd be kind of able to start talking about spring. Look, it's February the 16th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Come on. It's still winter.
It's still February. I know, but people were golfing in southwestern Ontario last week.
Yeah, well, so. Nobody likes people in southwestern Ontario. No,
oh, boy.
Just kidding.
Wow.
Only because you're golfing and we're not. But
I apologize in advance.
Why are you apologizing in advance?
To the people in southwestern Ontario.
Oh, people get it. Don't go on social media telling people like I'm bashing southwestern Ontario. I'm not. I'm just making a joke because they're golfing and we're not. So chill out, relax. Everybody's good. We got a show to do.
That'll be a good clip. Yeah, what do we got going on?
It'd be a good clip. Great. Yeah. Okay. That would be one of the ones, Scott, that we don't pick.
Okay.
All right, T-shirt boy.
No.
All right.
You don't like the T-shirt today?
I mean, the T-shirt's fine. It's a little casual. I mean,
it's Friday.
I'm not casual. Gonna lie.
It's a podcast.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean,
it's a podcast.
I mean, I take some pride in my appearance.
Oh my God, I'll wear a suit next time.
That's overkill.
Okay.
Even a tie is overkill. I could say even a dress shirt is overkill. I think for what we're doing here, a T-shirt's fine. It's like the southwestern Ontario thing. I'm just kidding.
Next.
I'm just kidding. Okay. So we got a show to do.
I guess so.
And I think it's going to be a good one. Judging from the little tidbit that you threw in the back nine there. We're gonna start off. Let's catch up on some stuff, some news and whatnot, some hot topics maybe. And on the back nine, with it being sort of Valentine's Day week, we thought we'd talk about what we love or things that we love about golf.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll explain why when we get to that. I mean, I think
course.
it's more than Valentine's, but yeah, it's prompted by just some other stuff of late. So anyways,
Okay.
We'll
All
get
right,
to
so
it.
we'll get to that in the back nine, but let's get to the front nine. Presented by Metcalf Golf Club, a natural setting, a pleasant challenge. Golf season is closer than you think, so don't wait. Start preparing now for upcoming golf. Buy your memberships, join leagues, purchase the game packs, and get ready to hit the first tee in the spring with balls in your pocket and a little bit extra money in your wallet. Visit metcalfgolf.com to shop for that now. Okay.
Are you getting excited about golf yet?
I am. You know what? I actually
grass?
am a little bit. I am a little bit. I mean, hockey season's never really over for me with the coaching and the instruction stuff. But much
Sure.
like, as a golf instructor yourself as a pro, you're teaching all winter, but you don't stop teaching in the summer.
No, of course not.
I do a lot of coaching in the winter for hockey, and I do a lot of on ice, semi-private and private in skills instruction sessions. But then I do a lot of that
Butterhockey.com.
stuff because that's the hockey. What's that?
Butterhockey.com.
Butterhockey.com. Yeah, butter. It's funny. I've never
Was that a plug?
shamelessly plugged that before. But yes, butterhockey.com. If anybody's looking to see
That's
what I got going on.
BAUDER.
Yes. Don't let the golf attire and golf stuff behind you fool you. I am a hockey guy as well. That said, yes, I am kind of. Well, I was anyway.
You still can be.
I am, but I get up this morning and I got to deal with clearing 3 driveways, and it's like, I was thinking, God, this is, then the hitting net area in the back was all clear. I was thinking about, the idea of getting some warm balls out of the stock pile in my office here and go out and hitting some freshies. And
then no.
Now the net, the sagging because of the snow, and I got to go knock the snow off of it and clear a path to it. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. So a little bit of a setback,
Yeah, minor.
but next week it's warm again. Snow is melting again, and who knows, maybe it's done for good. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. Hot topic. Hot topic.
Definitely.
Topic. For a number of different reasons. Obviously, one, little discussion about the event.
Mm-hmm.
2, more discussion about the winner of the event. The Waste Management Phoenix Open. Finished up last weekend.
You watched much of it?
I did. I watched a fair bit of it the first, what I could have the first 2 rounds. I mean, there was the little bit of a, but the final round and the finish, and I guess the conclusion of the 3rd round, on Sunday, that was an into the playoff. Well, you kind of get Nick Taylor. Let's kind of get to the point here. Nick Taylor, Canadian, wins.
Yeah, great playoff
in dramatic fashion again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the guy just can't go out and win a tournament. He's got to do it. He's got to do it where he's got his heart pumping, which I'm sure he was, but he was probably more calm in the moment than the rest of us were.
Maybe,
because we really wanted him to win, and I like Charlie Hoffman too, so it didn't upset me.
Mm-hmm.
To see, I wouldn't have been upset either way.
Yeah, agreed.
One way or the other, but I mean, it's the way he seems to win. It's like, he birdies 3 of the last 4 in regulation and 2 playoff holes.
Yeah.
So 5 consecutive birdies.
Well, 5 birdies in 6 holes.
Sorry, 5 birdies in 6 holes.
Yeah.
And like It's pretty extraordinary
Yeah,
under
plus-
that kind of
plus he
pressure,
hit it-
right? I mean,
Yeah, plus he hit it tight. I mean, within all those holes, he hit it within 15 feet on all those holes.
yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, just the way he was doing and playing. And you know, he finished second here last year. So, you know, he was one up again. The funny part is he won less money for winning it this year than he went for second last year because it was a signature event last year, but whatever, besides the point.
Well, he gets the point. He FedEx
Yeah.
points too, right?
Yeah, he got the win, fourth career win, and you know, at age 35 now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was exciting. I know for a lot of Canadians, it kept them from maybe watching the Super Bowl. I was watching both at the same time.
I was flip-flopping a little bit, although
yeah.
I was less interested in the Super Bowl, I gotta admit.
Yeah, but you know, but it was great to see Nick do that. He said, you know, follows his dramatic playoff win at the Canadian Open last year, and you know, he joins a pretty good group now for Canadians that have won at least 4 times on the PGA Tour in Stephen Ames, Al Balding, and Mike Weir. That puts him in an upper stratosphere and kind of a step up. I mean, he jumped into the top 30 in the world rankings, jumped into third in the international team rankings for the President's Cup, which obviously is one of his goals this year, and puts him higher up as well in the rankings to make the Olympic team later on this year. And those are all big things for him. And you know, at 35, you just never know what's ahead of you. You can play this game for a long time.
Yep. Sure
But you just never know. And this is a guy that was the world #1 amateur years ago. And you know, obviously that puts a lot of expectations on somebody, and maybe he didn't quite have the start to his career that he would have hoped, but boy, oh boy, he's come on in the last few years.
Confidence, eh? I mean, it's a big thing. Once you start building that confidence, you know, some amazing things can happen for sure. And I know Adam Hadwin has similar goals this year. It was kind of funny to see him standing on the sidelines and not running out under the green.
Chose not to. Yeah.
Given the event that he was at, that might not have ended well either. So
yeah, well,
you know, if it was bad at the Canadian Open, the RBC Canadian Open, can you imagine how bad it would have been from a security standpoint if he'd have tried it at the WM?
I mean, it was such a wild week too. I mean, it started off with really bad weather, which, you know, end up kind of pushing a lot of things and pushing a lot of extra spectators in there. And, you know, the organizers have already said, you know, things got out of hand a little bit.
A little bit?
Well, they had to deny people access to it because they had too many people in there. They
stopped serving alcohol.
They had to stop serving alcohol. You know, the calls for service, you know, were up almost more than 50% for the police for the event. Arrests, they had 54 arrests related to the event, 211 ejections this year over 102 last year. And people were just climbing over fences. So
there was one angle showing Nick Taylor's putt.
Oh yeah,
on 18 with the guy holding his buddy up, and two of them were hammered out of their mind. And I'm just like, you know, now, okay, let's not panic here, people. This is not Happy Gilmore coming to life.
No.
Okay.
People have to realize they are the exception, not the norm.
Yes, very, very much so. They are the exception, not the rule. This is just one of those events, and it has never been as bad as it was.
Right.
So we've always had these conversations about how crazy it can get there. Yeah. But this is the worst that it's been. So you would think that from an organizational standpoint, you do everything you can to prepare for situations. I don't think as an organizer, given the history that you've had to work with, that you could have predicted the way it would have escalated this year. So that said, the organizers, I'm sure, will look back on this year and they'll prepare for a much worse scenario next year that they can control it before it gets out of hand. So I would look to next year that this event kind of goes back to being a little bit crazy, but not over the top, much like it's been in the past. I don't think you'll ever see it this bad again. I really don't. But
yeah, the Thunderbirds
good
that run
Lord.
it, obviously they're a charitable organization. They're trying to raise money for charity, but they've already released a couple of statements relative to it. And yeah, they're gonna look into it from a planning perspective. You just don't want a few bad eggs to ruin it for everyone else, be it their interaction with spectator or their interaction with the players, things like that.
Yes.
So definitely, as you said, they've just got to be more proactive in kind of figuring out what will probably happen or could happen and how they're going to control that without diminishing the spectator experience, because you got to remember, when some of these people pull some of these things, it makes it worse for some other people as well. Yes, all fun and games, great for 1 week a year. We've talked about it in the past or whatever, but as you said, I think the ending thing is, the people from the waste management are going to look at it and figure out how it can be better for next year, and just to maintain the spirit of it, but also to have it something be positive and not let the negative narrative take over.
Okay, let's talk about the tiger in the room.
Yeah. The tiger in the room.
The tiger in the room. As we know, it is the Tigers hosting this weekend, the Genesis, and he's returning to play. Now, obviously, we're recording on Friday. They haven't teed off yet today. By the time people get into this podcast, they're either going to be finished this round, or they're going to be starting the third round, or if you're listening to it really late, they could be finished the golf tournament completely. Tiger's doing okay. He is 1 over. Kind of went up and down, back and forth.
Shank. Oh man, birdies, bogeys,
birdie, bogey, birdie, bogey, birdie,
for
bogey.
a guy who hasn't played a lot, that's sort of what you expect.
Well, I look at it's kind of funny because I look at who's in the event. Now, obviously, it is a limited field event.
Yeah.
But he's not dead last. But I look at who's in the event and who he's even with. Who's just ahead of him and who's just below him. Is the guys that are just ahead of him and just below him are ranked higher than him, obviously, right now. They've won. They're actively playing week after week after week and are solid players, but they're not playing as well as he is. And he hasn't played golf and meaningful golf in forever, really. So since he withdrew from the Masters, wasn't it?
Well, that's for an official PGA Tour event, but he did play, obviously, the Hero Challenge, in the fall. Yeah.
So, but I guess the big thing is first event back in forever, and he's no longer sporting the TW Nike clothing.
They chose this week to obviously debut the line. They had an event there on Monday, and obviously him coming back and playing, that's where they're going to have to debut it.
So the new clothing line is in partnership with TaylorMade.
Yep.
And it is called Sunday Red. And no, you're not hearing that incorrectly. It's not Sunday Red. It is 3 words: Sunday Red. The logo features a stylized tiger with stripes. And for those that have read about this, whether it be on flagstick.com or whether they've read it on other sources, the meaning behind the logo is that the stripes on the tiger represent the majors that Tiger has won. If he were to win more majors, there is nothing to say that they won't update or modify the logo to accommodate for said majors.
Yeah, exactly.
There is an explanation actually given for the reason why the words are split up. We got a lot of stuff to go over in the podcast. I don't think we'll get into the details of why they're doing it. I think explaining why they're doing it is important, so that people understand why they do it. But I think for the most part, people, they're not really going to be that taken in by the explanation. I think they'll look at I don't know. People buy clothing. I buy clothing because I like how the clothing looks. I like maybe the price point. I like the logo. I like the old TW logo. At first I was kind of not sure about the tiger. It grows on
you, doesn't it?
It does. So here's the thing. I'm very much an icon type logo person. If you look
Yeah,
at
yeah.
Flagstick, flagstick.com, whatever our brands are, you look at our logo, you see in the G that there's a flag.
Mhm.
And that flag is obviously representing Flagstick. Now that flag is also in an icon that you see as a favicon on our website. It's our social media logo.
Sure.
I'm very much identified by you identify your brand by that icon. That
Yeah, you
icon
don't you
becomes representable.
right.
Much like the swoosh, much like
Sure.
TaylorMade's
Pick one.
logo, the T in TaylorMade, you could pull
Mhm.
it away by itself, you know that that's TaylorMade. So
Yep.
when I look at the Sunday red, see, it's too hard.
So you don't
Put the
even have
words
to
back together.
you don't even have to say it that way.
No.
So
So the SDR,
yep.
which is actually what they're kind of going for here, to be honest with you. If you look at the logo, you see the tiger by itself, you see the tiger with the SDR in a triangle around it. And there are some instances where you see the three words together, but I think for me, I would certainly I like the icon. Like I like
Yeah,
the tiger. I think
and when you see him,
I'd get a hat with that on it, kind
yeah,
of like the old
when you see
Slazenger
him
hat with the,
yeah, when you see him playing with it, and obviously, that logo on his chest, the logo on the hat, and you see it in an application,
Mhm.
it starts to look a lot different than just seeing it by itself. And naturally, here's the thing. People will always and marketing people know this. Initially, because it's a change,
Mhm.
people will always have negativity towards it because it's different from what they've had before.
Mhm.
But I've already seen within just this week alone, I've already seen people softening their stance. There's going to be the same internet trolls and stuff that are out there, just saying stuff, whatever, but not really having an informed opinion. But you're starting to see more people sort of soften once they see it on them, once they see it on more products,
Yeah.
once they see, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as a result of that, that changes that appearance to it. Now, does that mean the brand will be successful? That's hard to say because that logo alone doesn't define what's going to happen from a business
No,
standpoint.
but you know what they have going for them that other companies that might be starting up clothing lines, aside from the fact that it is Tiger
Tiger.
Woods,
Yeah.
there's a boatload of marketing dollars,
Yeah.
and there's a huge team of people behind
hmm
this that are figuring it all out,
Sure.
and they have the social media
hmm
network already in place. Like it's a recipe for success.
hmm
And the fact that Tiger is the figurehead behind the whole thing, obviously, um, is it's going to be. I mean, it's going to be similar to when with the shark.
hmm
That was an iconic logo, and it's still being used today. Certainly not to the level that it was when
Yeah, it's
when
owned by a
uh,
separate. It's owned by a
he
separate.
was
It's
the
owned by a
top guy
separate.
in the world. But
Yeah, it's owned by a separate company now.
yeah,
We should and people should realize here too. TaylorMade has done a separate business unit for this. It is
yes,
not running from the Carlsbad headquarters. It's run from San Clemente. They have a whole bunch of extra team people that are involved in it, but they do have, as I know personally, some of the key people behind it that are doing the photography, social media, and so forth. People that I know from TaylorMade that are involved with that aspect of it. They know what they're doing. They also have had experience of working with Tiger now since 2017,
hmm
so they know sort of things that are happening there. I think the initial line and where we'll see things go. I mean, May 1st is when it comes out. It's going to live digitally at first, so we're talking direct to consumer at the first time when they're coming out. They're talking about premium price points to start with,
hmm
but we're also hearing future expansion to women's and kids, and possibly there's some other price points. So let's not assume that all of a sudden it's going to be 250 to 350 US cashmere sweaters for everyone. Yes, they are making those, and obviously Tiger is wearing those, but I would hazard a guess, and I'll call it a wise guess, is that this will expand a lot more from what you're seeing right now and start to reach into different price points, different consumer markets, and drive some success that way. And in talking to one of the past staff marketing members from the Nike team, who now is independent and was actually at the debut on Monday, He's highly expecting that Tiger will reach into his network of sports people, celebrities,
No
military
doubt.
people, all sorts of different other people to touch on different markets. So we shouldn't just look at this from a golf lens. You have to think of it as something bigger. So if you're going to pigeonhole it after a few days and say it's going to be a flop, I think you might want to give it some time
Mhm.
and really think of the big picture and where it could go here.
I don't see it being a flop. I mean,
Yeah.
it's TaylorMade's an extraordinary company. From a marketing perspective, they're obviously they're a big partner of ours in a lot of things that we do. And I think that they just know what they're doing,
Yeah.
and
Agreed.
because of that, they'll make this. This is going to work. It's going
Yeah,
to work.
this is not a direct to consumer project from somebody sitting in their basement.
Exactly. And the
Correct.
tiger icon is I'm starting to
Dig it.
I'm digging it. I'm digging it.
Dig it.
I'm digging the SDR. I'm digging the name. The 3-word thing is going to be an
Yeah.
acquired taste.
It's
But
gonna be
when you understand why they did it,
yeah.
you'll
Yeah.
get it. It just
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
still might take some time for you to kind of like, oh, I don't get, I don't,
Yeah.
I
I would
like it, I
say
don't like it.
I would just caution anybody, come back to this in 6 months
Yeah,
and tell me what you think then.
exactly.
All right.
Okay, enough
Cool.
about Sunday Red. Let's talk about more Canadians. We want to get through a couple more things before we have to take a break.
Yeah.
But more Canadian success at in the U.S. in the collegiate ranks.
Yeah.
Like this is
Just
becoming
keeps coming.
this is just becoming the norm for Canadians in in the NCAA.
Yeah, we had wins just in the last couple of days. Karis Bake from Langley, BC, plays at Gonzaga. She's now the 6th woman to win at a D1 level this year individually. Haley McLaughlin competes at D2 at Wingate. She's a grad student down there. She picked up a win. And then Hunter Thompson, who's from Calgary, picked up an individual win. He plays at Michigan. So, it's just great to see. And there was even more, but I think this week, our timeline on X was just polluted with college finishes.
Crazy.
Still is today, but it's great, and a big shout out as well to a number of coaches who reached out in the last couple of days, who are endeavoring to make sure they pass on their results now, which it's great to see.
We are on the map.
We've been doing this for a while, and it's nice to see those coaches recognize that they need to expose their players a little bit more to some publicity and that they deserve it. And unfortunately, we just can't get to everything. There are so many different. I mean, there's 1,200 schools in the U.S. alone, so trying to track everything between D1, D2, NAIA, D3, obviously Canadian CCAA, and OU sports, U sports, everything. I mean, it's just, but it's great. I love it. It's a good problem
100%.
to have. Good problem to have.
So recently 18 pros were named to Team Canada. Golf Canada named their pros that will be assisting with the development team, with development. Team Canada. Do you want to list them? Do you want to go through the list, or
yeah,
it's a pretty long list? But do you
it
want
is
to
a
go
long
ahead?
list.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll rip through.
Yeah, just
really quick.
run through the list.
Sure. On the women's side, we have Bridget Thibault, we have Maddie Zarek, Moremi LeBlanc, and Selena Costabile. On the Team Canada men's side, AJ Ewart, Brendan McDougall, Chris Alago, Etienne Papineau, Johnny Trevally, Jared Dutois, Jivan Shahoda, Joey Savoy, Matt Anderson, Max Sekulik, Miles Creighton, Noah Steele, Stuart McDonald, Shudarshan Yelamerju, and Thomas Giroux. So good squad there. Actually, there's been a pleasure to follow a lot of these players from their junior days all the way up, and they're having some more success even this week. We'll see where today ends up, but I can tell you that Jared's playing well on the Asian tour. Matt Anderson is leading an event out in California, and Noah Steele is also playing in a final group today down in Texas. So these kids are I call them kids. Some of them are in their mid-20s now, but a great squad for Team Canada, and it looks good for the future of Team Canada and the success of these players.
Okay, now big news in Canadian women's golf. The Canadian Women's Golf Participation Festival and Pro Golf Championship Series is expanding for 2024. The She Plays Golf was successfully piloted in across Calgary as part of the Glencoe Invitational in 2023, and new events will also be conducted in both Greater Vancouver and Greater Toronto this summer. The She Plays Golf is a citywide celebration of women's golf anchored in each host market by a 60,000 Canadian dollar professional golf championship contested over 54 holes for a field of 60 pros and elite amateurs as well. These enhanced championships, the Peloton Glencoe Invitational, Golf BC Group BC Women's Open, Aurora PGA Women's Championship of Canada will be newly linked together in a She Plays Golf Championship Series, marking a rebirth of professional women's golf tour in Canada.
Yeah, so what we're going to see now is these will lead back into exemptions for the CPKC Women's Open. Obviously, these events existed, but now they're linked together. And then in concert with that, as you mentioned, piloted last year was this Golf Participation Festival that occurred at Glencoe, where basically there's all sorts of programming for women and girls, recreational level, just players that are looking to explore the game for the first time, and they're going to be hosting those at all of these events, so they'll have it in concert with it. So it's not just a tournament for the 60 pros and those elite amateurs. There's all sorts of activations that will be taking place, which is great, and really it builds upon a couple of different programs that have been run in different provinces as well. And Golf Canada obviously recognizes that, that's happened. Golf and Tacos, the Women's Play Golf Initiative in Ontario. So it's just good to see overall, and it's nice to see it back. Obviously, they're still seeking, more corporate sponsorship for this, but, as they know, with the rise of things like the support for the PWHL and so forth, there are huge examples here of women's pro sports that are happening in Canada, and sponsors that are getting behind them. And I think this is a big opportunity as well for corporations at a relatively low cost compared to some of the other things that they might be getting involved with.
Cool. Okay, so we got a couple minutes here before we have to go to break, and I just want to touch on some equipment stuff.
Sure.
And we're not going to get into too much detail here.
No.
What's that?
There's no shortage of that.
Yeah, no doubt. We don't want to get too much detail on these right now. We will talk about them individually over the course of some future shows, but you can get everything you want information wise on these products from flagstick.com. Obviously all the full info is up there, but just a couple of interesting ones. Strixon is released a limited edition black chrome.
I knew
God, I love these things. I mean, I haven't sent the email yet, but I am going to. I want. I have a mixed bag of stuff, obviously. But I do have some Strixon stuff.
I knew these would get your attention.
I do have some Strixon stuff in my bag, and I really do like them a lot. And I don't change equipment a lot, but when I did, so there's two things of interest to me. One was these irons. I have the ZX7 irons in my bag, just the chrome ones. Love them. They're great. Play well with them, but I must have the black ones. Sometimes it's got nothing to do with performance. I haven't hit them yet.
No. This is not they're
really
going to perform the
looking.
same. They're going to perform the same. They just look differently. Yeah.
And the other thing I love is the and this wasn't so much a new thing right now, but the woods with the matte.
You like the matte
my
finish.
Gosh.
Yeah, versus
I have the sort of shiny finish, the glossy finish, and I love them, but matte finish.
That's a big thing. I mean, I think in the past we've done some surveys and stuff on it, but I think people are either a matte person or a gloss person.
Well, Ping has always been matte. For the most part, the matte finish, and I've always really liked the look of Ping clubs. Even when TaylorMade had the white, the white, it was not a shiny white. No, it was sort of a matte finished white. Yep. So it's the same, and I like that versus some of the other ones that were the glossy white. Speaking of TaylorMade, new TaylorMade golf balls. which is I'm excited about because
2.5X.
usually we get golf balls as part of the registration package for the Flagstick Open. So I'm kind of hoping that might be part of our. I haven't gotten all the details on our registration package yet, but kind of hoping that Nick shoots us some
it's
of the
an
new
interesting
golf balls.
ball. I mean, I've been testing the prototype since December, and I would definitely say people will notice a big acoustic difference in it. And that was part of it.
I read the article that you wrote. I do read what you write.
Oh, that's good. That's
I know
nice.
it's interesting. When we were just a magazine. For those that don't know, I never read the magazine. Never read the magazine. I was afraid to read the magazine.
Well, when it's print, should people realize is that you can't correct anything.
Exactly. So I do read more of the stuff that we post online because I know if I read something that doesn't make sense or that there's a spelling mistake, I can just go edit page and change it and then right away, and then it gets it off my mind right away. But when I see it in print and it's just like, oh God, did we really just do that? And so I just never read it. But that said, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you, but
yeah, I think people will notice a big acoustic change with the golf ball, and that was one of the things that they were after. So definitely a denser feel, something that you would see right away. So for people that maybe they want a higher speed ball or something that's designed previously for we'll talk about more the X type golf balls or whatever like that, but found them maybe a little bit clicky or something like that. And again, this is very subjective as far as how people perceive this. Clicky for somebody is soft for another, and people have to keep that in mind. But certainly and testing the prototypes and then getting to the finished version as well and doing some tests with that. I've hit a lot of balls in the last little while, looking at differences in between the two. I haven't noticed massive speed gains with it. I mean, there's obviously some claims and things related to that, but I would say from the density standpoint and the feel standpoint, it's a big difference, to the point like right away you're like, oh, okay, like that it's that noticeable. Whereas a lot of time you wouldn't get that. So yeah, kudos to them, and you'll see some more stuff from them soon. You're going to start to see some funkier things coming out from a few different manufacturers related to golf balls.
So now there are plenty of other equipment related stuff we could talk about, but we're not going to right now. But if you want to check that stuff out, flagstick.com.
All over our social.
Yes, and all over social. Getting back to TaylorMade Adidas.
Yeah, for the Flagstick Open.
The Flagstick Open, which is presented by TaylorMade Adidas, has been for quite some time now, and we're happy with that partnership. All of our 120 spots now have been filled.
Yep.
And I will say filled temporarily.
Mm-hmm.
There's always some cancellations, changes, and stuff as we get closer and closer and closer, even right up to within a week of the event, we're still having some changes. So you can still register. You go right on the waiting list, and then if we put you in the field, then you'll be charged for your entry fee at that point. And just note that we will be opening the registration for the Flagstick Shootout within, I would say, before the Golf Expo. So before the beginning of March, we'll be opening registration for that. I'm just finishing up with some details on some things. So, okay. We got to get out of here. When we come back, we're going to talk about what we love about golf. Stay tuned. You're listening to the Flagstick podcast with Jeff Botter and Scott McLeod.
When you golf on Prince Edward Island, there are over 400 fairways closer than you can imagine. Not to mention countless miles of pristine beaches and a rich world-class culinary experience. So get here fast, then take it slow and play around on Island Time. Golf Prince Edward Island.
Well, welcome back to the Flagstick podcast with myself, Jeff Botter, and of course, Scott McLeod. Yeah, good front nine.
How you pronounce it?
Solid front nine.
McLeod.
McLeod. Well, I guess it depends on whether I'm doing my normal, hey Scott, how's it going voice, or my radio voice, my podcast voice.
Oh boy.
Because don't tell me for a minute that these guys that do radio all the time have the same voice off the air as they do on the air. There's always a little bit more enunciation and stuff when they're.
Of course.
Anyway, so I just dragged out the McLeod.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay. All right. Good front nine. Solid front nine. Don't know what we shot, but it was good. So let's see how much better we can do on the back nine. The back nine presented this week by Celtic Golf Center. Located only 20 minutes from Ottawa in Kemptville, Ontario, Celtic Golf Center is indoor golf at another level, featuring 5 state-of-the-art TrackMan simulators and 2 new Unicore simulators featuring GS Pro. Celtic Golf Center can offer close to 10,000 golf course options, including many major courses, some with island greens, some with beautiful azaleas. You figure it out. Play rounds with friends, practice full swing golf analysis, or play golf games. Visit CelticGolfCenter.com to learn more or to book your tee times. All right.
Yeah. So
This is not me Miyagiing Danielson's
So here's the deal.
leg. But
here's the deal.
okay.
I mean, one of the things we talk about a bit, we talk a lot about social media and golf and so forth, but there's a fair bit of overreaction sometimes. There's a fair bit of negativity. And I think one of the things that doesn't get appreciated as much, although there are some segments of social media where people focus on it, is the things that are good about stuff.
There's
and we've done it before.
There's nothing good.
And
is that the negativity you're talking about?
You know,
there's nothing good in this world. Everything is bad.
We did a feature. Yeah, it makes it seem that way sometimes, which I think sucks, really. And I know we did a feature on it a few years back, and I remember talking to a lot of people about it and what they love about golf and stuff like that. And there was just a really positive reaction to that story, just because it got people thinking differently, as opposed to going to play a round of golf and you immediately, people are talking about what went poorly. You know what I mean? As opposed to thinking what went well, which is the same thing when we start to think about golf as a whole. And, I played this game for a long time, as have you. And I think as we age and play the game more and get involved with it in different ways, we start to maybe appreciate the game a little bit differently. So I just wanted to kind of have a general chat on some of the things that maybe we love about golf, just to get people thinking about what they love about the game. And then maybe they'll take that to heart this year. And, maybe it enhances their experience a little bit more. So
interesting. Well, I know your list is a lot longer than mine.
Well, we'll see where it goes.
But,
I mean, your list may be a few things, but it might lead to more discussion. You just never know.
So I guess for me, I mean, I jotted these down in no particular order other than what kind of came to mind first. But it's actually the last one I put on my list that probably for me is one of the things that really keeps me interested in playing. I guess it keeps me interested in playing. I had was going through this whole different list in my head, and then this one popped into my head is the variety and the uniqueness of where you play. And I'm one that yes, I'm a member at a club. I'm a member at a couple of clubs. I don't play those clubs that often, but I do play golf. I mean, it's like, you're a member. I'm a member of courses, particularly the one that's closest to me in Metcalfe. I'm a member of that golf course for a convenience standpoint. It's 2 minutes from my front door. If I want to squeeze in a quick 3 or 4 holes, I can do that. And I guess that sort of springs into something that I do love about golf, is that you can be fortunate in some respects to be able to do that, where you can I just want to go play 3 or 4 holes. Yeah,
it's hard to do in a lot of other sports.
It is hard to do in a lot of if you want to go to the, I don't know, if you want to go bowling, you don't necessarily go to the bowling alley and go play 2 frames and go home.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a little bit more, or you don't go to anyway. So that's sort of one. I didn't jot that on my list, but just as I mentioned, going and playing 3 or 4 holes, that's something that I do love, is that you can just go and do that. Or you can go to a driver range and hit a bucket or whatever the case may be. But
it sort of meets that need, because sometimes people will recognize this. I mean, if they're golfers, they sometimes have that urge where they have to play golf, and it could be a case of just hit one shot, and that's enough to satisfy them. And
so for me, it's the variety and the uniqueness of where you can play. You can go anywhere in the world and play golf. There are very few places in the world where you cannot find a golf course to play golf at. I mean, I'm not saying they don't exist, but I mean, guy, you'd have to look pretty long and hard to find some places in the world where you can't play golf. Places that you'd want to go anyway, and you can play golf. But you can go down to a vacation in Florida. You can go to California. You can go to Mexico. You can go to, Bermuda. You can go to Hawaii. You can go somewhere in Canada, Quebec. You can even go to the Arctic, and probably play golf there. So, but it's the uniqueness of when you get there. No two golf courses are identical.
No.
And as much as you'd like to think you have played a golf course where all the holes are the same, they're not.
Yeah.
They're all different in some respect, whether it's length, whether it's a bunker, whether it's a bump, whether it's a hill, they're all different. But most golf courses have 18 very different holes.
Or 9. Or 12.
Or 12
3.
or 9 or 3 or whatever. But it's that I like to go places and play golf. That's what I like to do. I like to go play a different golf. I would like my entire golf season to be playing a different golf course every single day. I can't do that. I don't have the time for that. Maybe sometime in my life I can just travel around and play a different golf course every day for the rest of my life. But right now that's not possible. But I like that. I liked last year when near the end of the golf season where my son and I we played a different golf course every day for like 5 days. Like it was just and courses that I hadn't played in a while that had changed that were different. That's something that really intrigues me. I like going to the first tee and going, okay, what do we got? I've never seen this before. Second hole, I've never seen this before. Oh, this is awesome. Look at that. I like that. So
and I mean, to continue on that as well, I grew up on some pretty rustic golf courses.
Yeah,
let's just say sand
greens.
Just
who's done that?
A lot. And if you live in Saskatchewan and stuff, a lot of people haven't because they might turn up their nose at it.
Yeah.
But that adds to the experience and realizing that golf, you can't just sort of pigeonhole it, as far as what a golf course is. And I think when people do that, I think they miss out on the scope of the experience that it can be there.
Yeah.
I see so many people that maybe drive by, a 9-hole golf course that, maybe it's not the best condition. Maybe it's not, made by a world famous architect, but the people that are playing it love the game. They're playing golf. So, I'm as excited just to drive by some country golf course and pop in and get a chance to see what they've done to be around the game as I am to go to, a highly rated, golf course that, sure. It's great to play what's considered world-class golf courses where top pros and things play, but you're right. That variety of it and understanding that the game is more than that. And you see where it's played, whether it's a, crappy driving range in the middle of nowheres or, a par 3 course that some guys, carved out of the woods and then turned into a business. I mean, those are all showing they're an expression of love for the game of golf. And the people that are playing there don't know any different.
How many times have we done that, Scott? In 20 plus years, what are we at again?
You're 28.
28 years of doing this. How many times have we just randomly, maybe been doing delivery of magazines, maybe coming back from someplace and stopped at a golf course that we just drove by just to check it out?
All the time. I always say to people, I've been to more parking lots than played golf courses. Like they'll ask me, they're like, oh, how many golf courses have you played in Ontario? And I'll say X number, but twice as many I've been to their parking lot.
Yeah.
And I even thought about it today. I mean, the number of golf courses that I've had the opportunity to drive around or walk and maybe just didn't have the time to play, but still had a great experience of just seeing it and appreciating the fact that this is the grounds or the place where people connect with the game and a game that they love, and a lot of kids, that's where they're going to start. And it's a loss sometimes when, some of those little golf courses go away because they become the incubators. And you can ask all the top pros. A lot of them didn't start at country clubs.
No,
they're not about that. It's about the golf aspect of it. And you're right. That variety, that makes it exciting all the time.
I remember all the times doing delivery back when we started the Central Ontario publication and we were doing
Yeah.
deliveries and stuff like that. All the places and all the little nooks and crannies that,
Mhm.
that we found.
Yeah.
Even, a golf course that's sort of obscure and not as known, such as like some place like Shelter Valley Pines.
Awesome
But
golf course.
but
Yeah.
but then there was the other little golf course on the road on the way in that I think was Shelter Valley Creek or something like that. It
Yeah.
was just a little 9-hole thing. I don't even
Yeah.
think it's there now. But
I think they're both there actually
are they
still.
okay?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I nothing about it wasn't even on the delivery radar
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
go to that golf course. And we're just driving in thinking, is that it?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
you're like, no, it's way out there. So what's that over there?
Yeah, it's
There's a
another
golf course over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So you discover, and that's and
Yeah.
I want to play that golf course.
And it was
You
fun to
know?
go back. I went and played Shelter Valley Pines. I went back and played with Hickory, and you're right. It was doing some of those things, and I used to overnight kind of in the Durham region when we used to do that delivery. And
Yeah.
I can remember going out the one night and playing this 9-hole golf course. It was a par 3 course, and I just joined up, and this will lead into something else. I joined up with these 3 ladies that were playing because I asked the pros, Andre LeBlanc, if you remember Andre,
Mhm.
and I just said, "Hey, I'd like to get out. This is better than sitting in a hotel room. I wouldn't mind playing." And
Is
he's
that
like,
the
"You
one
know,
on the main?
yeah, on the
Okay,
road
yeah.
off
Okay,
Taunton Road there."
yeah.
And
Taunton Road.
it probably has a different name now, but whatever the case may be, it was Salem Ridge or something like that at that point.
Yes.
And I just remember saying, "Hey, I'll go play." And then he's like, "Well, it's sort of ladies' night that's out or whatever, but guys are playing too. But the only group I have for you to play is these 3 members." And they were like, "Oh no, you don't want to play with us." And I'm like, "Well, sure I do. Why not? Do you like golf?" And they're like,
Mhm.
"Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, perfect. Let's go." And I can remember we had a blast. We had fun. I helped them out with their games a little bit. I remember, taking pictures with them in the end, laughing and, connecting over and writing a column about it afterwards and just
Mhm.
saying, that randomness, so that leads us to is that those golf courses can also lead to those experiences of meeting new people and connecting because you have a mutual bond. It's not like a stranger.
No,
They may be not somebody that's been known to you before, but golf is your bond.
that's the connection.
You're both golfers, and that's where it starts. And I love going on the random tee sheet at the golf course that I'm at, and
Just popping
joining,
into a group.
popping into a group. I'll be on the putting green. Hey, there's
Yeah.
a spot. Go out. I mean, last year I met grad students. I met a chef. I met it's just all these different people. I met a guy who was an Australian military officer. We still stay in touch.
Yeah.
Because he was posted here for a little bit, played golf, had a good chat. I learned more about, Australia in those, 4 hours than I've ever had in my whole life. And we still chat and we still connect.
Golf has that. And now,
Mhm.
yes. Okay. Yes. There's always a chance
Oh
that
yeah.
you join up with a group or you
Yes.
join up with somebody and
But you
it's
get a story
like,
out of that.
oh my God. And it's just like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I cannot play 18 holes with this person.
You can
Like,
always bail
there's no
after
way.
9.
Yeah. So there's always that.
Right.
But for
Sure.
every one of those, there's
Yeah.
100 of the other ones. And I
Agreed.
remember we played a round of golf one time. We just randomly had someone join up with us, and he was the pit reporter for NASCAR on NBC.
Oh yeah.
Remember that at
Yeah.
Stonebridge?
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay,
Yeah.
what are you doing in Ottawa?
Yeah.
And, and you get the whole backstory, and it's you have a great time, and you're talking. I'm a NASCAR guy, so it was like kind of cool to talk NASCAR with this guy. Well, who would have thought? Well,
Yeah.
who would have thought? Golf is the connection. It's like everybody and anybody is somehow connected in some way to golf. And
Yeah, and
who knows?
it's its own language as well. And
Oh, it's a language.
been fortunate, same case, been fortunate to get paired with lots of different people, play with different people in tournaments, people that people would maybe know from we'll call them a celebrity aspect of it because they excel in particular sports or entertainment or whatever the case may be. But it's always funny because you all they want to do is talk about golf. They're you want to get a story from them on one thing and they want you to fix their backswing, which is amazing. And you realize that they're just people. And you're right. I mean, I think that was both on the list for both of us. And that's something to love, is that opportunity that golf creates to connect with people
100%.
that you wouldn't connect with in another way. And that's one of the blessings of golf for sure.
So one of the other things I love about the game is the competition part of it. And that when you think about competition for some sports, it's for a lot of sports, it's winning and losing, and the game is played one way. There's only really one way to win and one way to lose. Now, sure, you could probably make up different games about winning and losing with other sports, but very few sports have the set sort of variety of invented games within the game itself. You still have to hit the ball, you still have to putt the ball, you still have to get the ball in the hole, but the games that come along with it, whether it's bingo, bango, bongo, whether it's match play, whether it's skins games, the list could go on and on and on and on and on. And if you've ever played any games, you're a member of the club and you go out with your men's night group or your ladies' night group or your mixed night group, and the little side games and stuff that are going on, and all the little point structures and things like that. Like, it's just, golf has that way of, I love match play. I absolutely love playing match play. I hate playing stroke play, but I'll do it. And the reason is because stroke play is definite. I make a bogey.
Right.
The next hole, I make a bogey. Now I'm 2 over.
Right.
And I got to make up those bogeys or hope that somebody else makes bogeys so that I can get back into the game. But in match play, I can make a quadruple bogey.
Right.
Make 2 pars and be up in the match by 1.
Yeah.
Even though the person I played made 2 bogeys and a birdie.
Sure. On top of that as well, when we look at things like, indexes and stuff like that, you can obviously negotiate with the person you're playing with. If you got a buddy that's, maybe they're not quite the same ability or whatever, they can give you strokes, you can give them strokes, whatever the case may be. You're right. It's malleable. There's many different ways.
Nice word.
Thank you.
Nice word.
There's many ways and formats to go about it, and it does have that flexibility. A lot of sports do have that, but I think golf has lent itself to having that bit of competition because people realize that they're not all equals, but in some ways they can be, and that could be random things that are within that as well. That people come away from an event and they feel gratified because they've won a side game, or they've won a skin, or they've you know what I mean. They could have shot 1 million, but they pick up a nice prize for a random skin because they hold out a shot or something like that. And it provides that extra satisfaction that way. And I think competition as well can be it can be also with yourself.
100%
in golf, which is great. Recognizing that it's up to you to try to improve, and your goals are sometimes what matters more than anything.
Well, yeah, and even things like teaming up, scrambles, best balls. How many times we've gone on our little road trips and stuff, and we play a lot of golf on those road trips. And I guarantee that when you're playing that much golf over that short a period of time, simply going out and playing your own ball stroke play can get really monotonous after a while.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
we have done numerous times where we have just done a scramble.
Yeah.
We're just going to play a scramble. We play quicker. There's no pressure. We're trying to hit the miracle shot every time because nobody really cares. And it adds an element of fun to the game. So 100%. That's one of the things that I love about the game is just what the competition side of it and what you're able to do with the game within the game.
Yeah, and I think it adds an element too for motivation. I know a lot of people, if they don't have something to play towards, they don't feel motivated to work on their games, right? They set goals, and maybe they just try to do something better than they did last year, or they have an event that they want to qualify for or get into. We're obviously hearing that now, as we get players that are saying, hey, I'd love to play in the the shootout. I'd like to be good enough to get in the shootout or whatever. So that's a person's goal. So so that's a great part of it as well, as far as that self-improvement for sure.
Now, I noticed on your list you have you put sort of the independence. So explain the independence.
I think the independence is an interesting aspect because a lot of us get used to playing team sports.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we grow up and we play hockey, we play basketball, we play volleyball, and yes, you can have certain things within that that you can do by yourself, but in the end, there's no defense in golf. I mean, weather, obviously, the golf course, whatever, but it's up to you. You're the element to control that. And once people sort of realize that it all depends on you alone, and it's up to you to try to figure out how to solve that puzzle. I think there's an intrigue there, and I know for me that was part of the part of the thing that I liked is I didn't have to depend on a, I didn't have to depend on a good set, I didn't depend on a good pass, from somebody else. It was up to me to figure that out, to hit the shots. And while that might be daunting for some people to have that responsibility on themselves,
Mm-hmm.
for others, you are competing against yourself. So that's that independence of being, alone and having to do it. When it comes down to it, if you're standing on 18 and you need to make that birdie and it's you that has to hit that shot, nobody's coming over to hold your hand.
Nope.
No.
Well, they might, but
They might, but but I tell
that'd
but
be
I tell
weird.
my students that as well. I mean, you can sit there and coach and help them out from a coaching perspective and a lesson perspective, but in the end, they're the ones that hit the shots. And that's why I always say, coaches get too much blame and too much credit because the player in the end has to hit the shot. So you're trying to coach them
Yeah.
in a way so they can learn, so that when they're out there, they're not turning around to look to dad to approve whether they're going to hit the shot or not. It's on them.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we'll do one more point,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
it's from your list, and I like it, so I want to finish with it.
All right, sounds good.
Because there is a lesson to be learned from it as well. You put on your list that it's time away from your phone, it's time away from social media, it's time away from it's time away to spend some time with golf friends, whether they're your everyday friends or just generally people who also are golfers that like to golf. The reason I like this one is because for a lot of people, that is what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be time away. So what I'm noticing more and more is when I'm out golfing with people is that what's supposed to be time away from all of these distractions is a little bit becoming more and more. Those distractions are entering the space of the safe space, the space where you're supposed to be able to turn the phone off, stick it in your golf bag, and not have to deal with emails and text messages and Facebook and TikTok and X and all that. And now you're seeing the phones in the cup holders, carts having phone holders, instead of them being put away, they're out on display all the time. And now they're creeping into what's supposed to be 4 hours away from all of that to 4 hours continued usage of that. That's why I liked it on your list and I wanted to kind of discuss it.
Yeah, I think we're all guilty. There's certainly some things that have to be taken care of from an emergency standpoint, obviously to be connected that way. But if we lose track of real experiences, I think we miss out on life. And, unfortunately, the jobs and the roles that we're in, especially from a media perspective, we're over-connected. But it's important to take that time to connect with things that are real and happening and not worry about maybe people that really don't have an impact on your life, and recognize the people that are around you. So, I look at it this way: when you're going out to golf, there's that opportunity to, okay, I booked it off, I've got away, I can focus on what I'm trying to focus. And tournaments are great that way. It's a little different in casual golf because people, again, you get the phone out and stuff like that. But when you have restrictions for tournament play, for an example, say our PGA events or whatever the case may be, and you're fully committed to that time and you're focused on that movement, you sort of get a better feel of what life, one, was like, but two, what it should be like in a lot of cases, and understanding that, any communication device has a place in the world and that's about it. And you want to be, there's nothing worse than maybe playing with a group and you want to have a conversation with somebody and you look over after you hit the shot and their head's buried in their phone.
Yeah, and here's the thing. So all the great things that I love about golf that makes golf so much different than other sports.
We can do a whole other thing on things we hate
Yeah,
about
exactly.
golf.
So the thing about this particular thing that I love about it is also one of the things that I find I'm disliking about it. So
Yeah.
I love the fact that you can get away from the office, you can get away from all this stuff, and you can just go out and be with nature, be with friends, and just do. It is also a sport that is very technologically connected now. We have apps on our phones for swing analysis, in-game stuff with the Arco system and your clubs. We have GPS in our phones now for for yardages.
Mhm.
We have all this stuff that has us on our phones during our round of golf. Other sports, like you're playing pickup hockey or playing tennis or pickup basketball or pickup volleyball, you're playing.
Happening. Yeah.
So you can check those things out at the break, but you can't do it while you're doing the actual thing.
True.
So
yeah,
unfortunately, the thing that can make golf a great opportunity to get away from those things is also one of the things that, because it's golf, you have carts, push carts, you can really kind of you can still stay very much engaged while you're golfing. Now, maybe that's not a bad thing. At least you're out. Maybe you're at least you're out of the office for that 4.5 hours or 2 hours if you're playing 9 holes, or that time that you're at the driving range hitting balls, and you can sit down for 2 or 3 minutes and look at your phone, then go back up and work for 20 minutes on your swing. Maybe there's a good thing involved there as well, but
I think it's just a balance. And I sort of relate it to, I was in Northern Ireland and I went into this bar that basically is, they have lockers on their tables. And basically when you go in there, you have to lock your phone in your locker on the table. And it's basically a conversation bar is what it is. Okay. And if they see you pull it out, like the staff they have it a couple different ways. There's a couple different places. One, the staff will lock it and then unlock it when you're done. There's one where they'll lock it and you can get into it in between. But if you pull it out, you have to buy a round of drinks for everyone. So, but what it does though is it forces people to have conversations, to go back to doing things. And you're right, it can be a balance of the two, certainly, and it is different in the fact that we do have time between shots. So obviously that gives that opportunity. But I think it's the realness of it, of a real activity, of you're not playing, a video game. You're doing something that's legitimate, real, and it's in front of you, and you have the opportunity to push the other parts away if you like.
There you go. All right, let's leave it at that. Let's hear from you too. If you want to leave a comment, if you're watching this on YouTube, you want to leave a comment on the video with some things that maybe you love about golf, or if you want to drop us on social. Some of the things that you love about golf, we'd like to talk about those on another episode of the show.
Definitely.
But for now, we're wrapping up for another episode of the Flagstick podcast. Thanks again to our sponsors, Metcalf Golf Club, Celtic Golf Center, presenting sponsor, Golf PEI. Golf Prince Edward Island is premier Canadian golf destination, boasting the most number of golf courses per capita in the country. Over 400 of them, fairways closer than you can possibly imagine, top-tier accommodation, and exquisite culinary experiences. The easiest golf vacation you will ever book. So book the golf vacations and tee times at golfpei.ca. Well, I'm sure that you are, but we hope that you're enjoying and hearing and watching what we're bringing to you every week. Be sure to follow us across all social media networks, Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok. Subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like us, click the notification bell. Make sure you never miss a single episode. Get over to flagstick.com for even more amazing golf content delivered to you every single day. And please be sure to subscribe to the free Flagstick Digest newsletter so that you get that content delivered directly to your inbox 3 times a week. As always, we appreciate you tuning in, but until next week, I am Jeff Botter.
That's Scott McLeod.
Remember, always go for the stick.